Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 27 of What If Naruto Was Neglected by Everyone. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was a Badass Genius that I posted on this channel. And over on Anime King 2, I posted a brand new episode of What If Naruto Was Banished and gathered all the Jinchurikis. So go ahead and check out that and enjoy. And later on I'm going to be giving you What If Naruto Was a Deceitful God. So stay in tune for that and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. And remember, if you're new and it's the first time hearing my voice, and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support guys, and yeah, remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying and talking back to all of you. So without further ado, let's begin this new episode. Start the intro.
I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their
So, the last spot we left off, Oniki came to the meeting with the other Kages, as Minato was beyond pissed. Reason being, at first this man disrespected all of them by his words, saying that he didn't need them to take down the Akatsuki. The Raikage was really lacking if he allowed one boy to take his village like that. And now because Naruto went to his village, he's here. As Minato was really pissed about that, as Minato showed it in his grunting. As Oniki looked at him, "You have something to say?" As the both of them started to argue, Mifune told them that we're here for a meeting, not to quarrel amongst each other, as the both of them calmed themselves. Meanwhile, Naruto was talking to Konan, as she told him does he really have it in him to walk over to his family and kill them with his own hand. Even if they treat him so badly, they were still his family. And there must be a time before that, before all of the hate and neglect, where he saw them as family. He saw them as people who loved him. As Naruto didn't answer her question right away, as she kept on pestering him until he grabbed her by the neck. He calmed down and released her, as he told her he might die. As she asked him what the hell he's talking about, as he told her about Madara's plan to put the world under an infinite Tsukuyomi. She told him that she didn't really care about him, but she didn't want to go into any dream world, so he should make sure he defeat this guy. And with that, Naruto left. Naruto and Menma, with the high-class ceiling ninjas, started the ritual, as they start to remove the 9 tails from Naruto and seal it within the Gedo statue. A week later, Liz was pissed as it has been some time now, and every time she asked for Naruto, there was always some excuse, so she wanted to know where the hell he is, as she saw Raymond at the door, guarding the place where the statue was. As she asked Raymond where is Naruto, but Raymond wouldn't answer, as she then tried to push her way in, as Menma told her to allow her inside because the danger has passed. As she came in to see Naruto attached to the Gedo statue, as she asked him what the hell is going on. As he explained to her, she was pissed off, as she couldn't believe he did this without telling her what if he had died, as she ran out of the room. Meanwhile at Konoha, both Mito and Narumi was training. Both of them went to Mount Miyaboku as the Sage Toads deemed them worthy, and they now have Sage Mode. As the both of them tear through the forest like a brutal force. As the both of them are getting stronger and stronger, as Minato and Kushina saw that as they were watching their progress. As Mito and Narumi are going to bring Naruto back and drive him from this hatred. It doesn't matter how many times people say bad things about him, they will do something. If it comes up to it, they will even end his life to save him from this darkness, because they don't want it to consume him any longer. The time then passed as Madara got a note from one of Naruto's clones to meet him. As Madara came to the spot, it was a wasteland between the land of fire and the land of water. A perfect scenery that Naruto found. As Naruto came out of the portal, as he had on a new outfit, as Madara asked him if he were to dance, as Naruto went into a fighting position. So yeah guys, that was basically the last where we left off. You guys can choose your cross place to check out for yourself, so let's start this new episode. Both Naruto and Madara were looking at each other from a distance away. As Madara smirked, his speed through Hansen as his hair started to rise up. Fire style, Majestic Destroyer Flame, he said, as he released a stream of flame that would take at least up to 15 Chunins to put out. But Naruto stood there as he smirked, as the intense flame came up to him. As Naruto then went through hand sign, fire style, Eclipse Wave, Naruto said, as he matched Madara's flame with a dose of his own flames that were dense. As it teared through the ground, the both of their flames matched in the center as it created a huge explosion. As the ground was scorched to pieces, both Madara and Naruto jumped back as the explosion rippled outwards. In a blink, Madara appeared beside Naruto as he moved with incredible speed, closing the distance. He brought up his right foot as Naruto brought up his hand as he kicked Naruto in the hand, but Naruto shed it off. As he pushed back Madara, Madara flipped in the air as he went through hand sign. Fire style, fire bullet, he said, as he fired small fire bullets at Naruto. Naruto jumped away as the fire bullets cinched off the rock that he was standing on. As Naruto went through hand sign, wind style, great breakthrough, as the wind style teared through the ground and went towards Madara. As Madara flipped out of the way and landed, he dashed towards Naruto as he unsheathed his sword from his side. As Naruto unsheathed his two swords, the both of them met in the middle and clashed as the ground cracked under the weight. As Madara brought down his sword, as Naruto brought up his two swords and blocked the attack. Madara then delivered a harsh kick to Naruto's stomach as it hit Naruto right on the armor, as Naruto barely moved. As he tossed both of his swords in the air, as Madara twisted his body and sliced at Naruto midsection, but Naruto tilted his body out of the way. As Madara smiled as he knew the swords were coming down. But what he didn't expect was for Naruto to infuse them with wind chakra, wind style. Eclipse cut, Naruto said, as the swords came down with so much force. The moment Madara jumped out of the way, they stabbed right into the ground, creating a large gash that would have tear right through Madara's body. You dodged that. Impressive, Naruto said. I must say you're faster than I thought. But then, you're always slow. Stuck to that statue. Madara smirked as well. I can tell. You have already extracted the 9 tails from your system. Huh? And how do you know that, Naruto asks. It's your eyes. Because of the 9 tails chakra, they were usually flushed and red. But now, they're dull. I can see by that. And I can tell while fighting with you. The demonic chakra in your system, it's barely there. It seems like you leave a little behind just to survive. Yeah, you're right, said Naruto. So, we're kind of fighting on equal levels. Madara smirked. And why would you say that? Well, given that the both of us has the Sharingan and the Rinnegan, well, I have 2, you have 1. But now that I don't have the Fox, we're fighting on equal levels, so you can finally see which one of us is stronger. Yes, you're right, Madara said. The student or the master. But you should know, the student will never surpass the master. And I, Madara Uchiha, will never allow that to happen, he said. As he dashed forward towards Naruto. We'll see about that, said Naruto as the both of them clashed in the center. They slammed their fists together as they created a small pulse. Madara brought his hand around, Naruto ducked under it as Naruto grabbed Madara's wrist. Madara flipped over as he tried to deliver a solid kick to Naruto's head as Naruto tilted his body. He then grabbed onto Madara's leg and twisted him around and thrust him up in the air as Madara speaked through hand sign in mid-air. Fire style, rain in flames, he said as he rained down fire on Naruto as he came down like a spread. As Naruto jumped out of the way, but he then saw a massive fire dragon coming towards him. As the thing kept on chasing him as Naruto was running out of the way, Naruto infused his hand with pure chakra as he made it rather dense. He then thrust his fist into the center of the fire dragon as it exploded upon contact. As Naruto brushed off his clothes, as he had infused his body with chakra, so he wouldn't be harmed in that attack. Even without the 9 tails, you sure do have a large reserve, Madara said. Yes, the same goes for you, said Naruto. Now how about we take this more serious, Naruto said, as he activated his Mangekyou Sharingan, as Madara smirked, as he hasn't been using any abilities as well, of his Mangekyou. As he activated his Mangekyou, as he looked at Naruto, as he went into a fighting stance, the both of them then rushed forward. Meanwhile, all of that was going on. We have Kushina, Narumi, and Mito. Mito jumped out of the way as Narumi rushed forward and pulled back her fists. As the man ducked under her fists, he tried to punch Narumi right in the stomach, but a chain shot from nowhere and grabbed onto his arm as it pulled him over. As he was coming towards Kushina, but then Mito stepped in the way as she drove her fist into the man's face, knocking him in the ground a boom. As the group looked around, as there was a lot of bandits, they had taken care of all of them. That was a leader, as they were sent on this mission to free this small little village from these bandits, as they were cutting off supplies from going through to Konoha. And with that, the group headed back so they can go talk to the leader of this small village and told him that the mission was a success. Meanwhile, with Naruto and Madara, the ground around them was singed as fire attacks after fire attacks, wind attacks, destroying the ground, earth style, destroying the ground as well, lightning, water, as the place looked like it has gone through hell, and the both of them haven't really pushed themselves yet. As Madara activated Susanoo, the rib cage, as the skin formed over it, as legs started to form, as it stood tall, as he was in the incomplete version. Naruto smirked as he went through hand sign, wood style, wood binding, he said. The ground break open as a ton of trees fly out of the ground, the wood vines to wrap up Madara. As Madara pulled out two swords, the blue swords engulfed on Susanoo's hand as he tried to strike down all of the vines, but they just kept on coming and coming and coming. As Madara jumped out of the Susanoo, not before sending a large dose of flames towards Naruto, as Naruto brought up the wood vines that took all of the flame. As Madara appeared behind Naruto in a quick flash, he delivered a solid kick to Naruto's face, knocking Naruto as he sent him rolling. As Naruto quickly stopped himself. "You got me there," he said as he stood up. As Naruto then smirked, as Madara wondered what is going on, till he looked at his feet, as he saw he was standing on a group of paper bombs. As everything went off in an explosion, as Naruto stood there watching the firework. But he then heard a roar, as the top half of Madara Susanoo had formed in the nick of time, as it waved his hand, blowing away all of the smoke. Naruto created two wood clones as the both of them came at his side. Lightning style, Twinkle Shock. The other one went through hand sign. Fire style, Fire Stream, as Naruto went through hand sign of his own. Wind style, Wind Burst, as all of them released the attacks. As the attacks rushed towards Madara, Madara brought up both of his hands in defense. As it tanked all of the attacks, the Susanoo was able to tank all of them. But Naruto was no longer in front of him. He then felt a pressure on the back of his Susanoo, as Naruto in his incomplete form Susanoo strike his fist right into Madara's back of Susanoo, breaking it upon contact. As Madara had a split second to move, but before he could, he looked up to see Naruto, as the one that was controlling the Susanoo was just a clone. As Naruto drive his leg down on Madara's shoulder, as he smashed it with a boom. As Madara hit the ground so hard, there's a huge thud. But suddenly the ground exploded as Madara got up, as there was a few scratches on his armor here and there, and a little tat and dirt on his pants, but he was good. As he looked at Naruto, he then sped through hand sign. Wood style, Deep Forest Emergence, he said. As the ground started to break apart, the entire ground erupted as an entire forest started to form. Naruto activated Susanoo and flew up into the air as the wings came out. As Naruto looked down, as vines stretched forward as they tried to grab Naruto in mid-air, as he flew out of their directions and blocked all of them by slicing them with his sword. As Naruto watched Madara down there, as a vine brought Madara up. As he went through hand sign in mid-air, wood style, Wood Dragon, he said. As a wood dragon came from the ground, as Madara was on his back, the thing lashed out at Naruto and tried to wrap around his Susanoo. As Naruto brought down the sword, slicing the dragon, but Madara already jumped off. As he extended his hand, "Almighty push," he said, as the force collided with Naruto, that sent Naruto's Susanoo flying down towards the forest. As Naruto hit it with a thud, as they were pollen all in the air, as there was a green mist surrounding them, but Naruto was still in his Susanoo. As he got up, Madara landed on it and hit it back down into the ground with great force. As he placed his hand directly on it, "Almighty push," as the thing was sink even deeper into the ground. But a burst of chakra sent him flying back and also blew away all the pollen around Naruto. As Naruto flew off with his Susanoo and got to a point where there was no pollen. As Naruto deactivated Susanoo, as he looked down at Madara from the top of the small hill. As Madara looked at him, "The games are over," he said. "It's time we end this." "It's time I stop playing around as well," Naruto said. As Madara's Susanoo flared up, as the Susanoo went through hand sign just as Madara looked up in the sky. As Naruto looked up and smirked, as he saw it, a giant meteor was coming from the sky, but Madara wasn't done yet. As he raised his hand, "Divine split," he said. The meteor then broke into pieces. One of the pieces looked like a small stone from where Naruto was, but it was actually the size of a 2-story house. Meanwhile, with Kushina and Mito and Narumi, the both of them looked up as they tapped their mother on the shoulder. "Mom, what the hell is that?" As Kushina's eyes went wide as she saw the giant meteor dropping from the sky before it broke into pieces. Who could be doing this?" "Mom, do you think this could be Naruto?" said Narumi. "But why would he do this?" "He's probably fighting someone," said Mito. "We have to go check." As Mito ran off. "Mito, wait," Kushina said. As Mito kept up with full speed as she headed off to see what the hell was going on. "Mom, what do we do?" asked Narumi. "We have to follow her." As the both of them ran off as they were heading back to Konoha until they saw that. Madara then pointed all of his spears at Naruto as he sent them down to the ground. As Naruto closed his eyes, he activated his running gun as he then started to fly up in the air. As Naruto went straight up as he pointed his hand towards all of his spears as he gathered a large amount of chakra. Almighty. As he paused for a second. Push! As all of the stones were obliterated as they crumbled into small pieces and blown away into the wind. As Madara clenched his fist, as Naruto looked down at him, as Madara activated Susanoo. "Let me show you the power of my perfect Susanoo," he said, as the thing stood tall, as the wing extended and it had a giant katana at its side. As Kushina and Narumi saw it. "Wait, is that it?" As Mito looked up as well, as neither of them saw Naruto perfect Susanoo, so they were wondering if that was it, as they saw a small figure in the center of the head, but they couldn't tell from here. As Naruto smirked while in mid-air. "Let's do this," he said, as the glow started to form around him until it exploded outwards, creating Naruto colossal Susanoo. At that point, Kushina, Mito, and Narumi stopped, as they couldn't believe what they were seeing until they felt it. The moment Naruto's Susanoo feet touched the ground, there was a tremor as the thing stood tall. "That's even bigger than the first one," said Kushina, as she wondered what the hell was going on. "Impressive," Madara said as he looked up at Naruto. "Impressive indeed. But let's see if you can handle it perfectly." As he drew his katana, as Naruto's 6 hands draw their katana as well, Madara swiped forward as the sword teared through the sky like a bullet. As Naruto's first 2 blades blocked it, as Naruto brought down the other 4 blades. As the other hand on Madara's Susanoo turned as its shape into a giant shield. As Naruto brought it down, the shield get a crack instantly as the weight was coming down. As Naruto activated affinities, as fire exploded around one of his swords, then wind exploded enhancing the fire as it shattered through the shield. As Madara was prying off Naruto's other 2 blades, Naruto brought up Susanoo's leg and drive it into Madara's chest. As Madara's Susanoo dropped and hit the ground a thud, as the place was shook under the weight. As Naruto's Susanoo took flight, as the thing flapped its wing and went up into the air, it then raised all 6 swords as all of them ignite. Wind, lightning, earth, fire, ice, water, as they were just pulsating with power. "Let's see you handle this," Naruto said. "Let's see if the student cannot surpass the master." Seeing that, Madara started to focus a great portion of his chakra to his sword, as the sword started to glow, as the power in it was pulsating outwards, as Madara saw Naruto level all of the swords downward, as he drive his own sword up. With Kushina and the others, they saw it as the swords collided. As a huge explosion teared through the area, they were a distance away. It was just because these things were big that's why they could see it. As they were sent flying back, as Mito, who was at the front, was sent flying. As Kushina had to extend their chains to grab onto Mito as she held onto a tree, but the tree was rooted up. As Narumi grabbed onto her mother as she was holding onto a large boulder, but the boulder was sent sailing as well, as the three girls were sent sailing into a deep forest. As the explosion teared from west, east, south, north, as nowhere was safe. Even the small village that they went to, that was a many distance away from here, felt it. As shops were blown away, even buildings started to shake and some of them started to crumble that were close enough. As the attack was so devastating, the explosion was massive. It rippled through the area with so much force. As we skip back to the battlefield, the landscape was totally destroyed. People could not call this a crater. They saw something beyond that. They would have to invent a new word for this. This wasn't a crater. This thing was it was just too. It was on a different level, if anyone could say. If you got down in that, it would take a very long time for you to get out back. As they might as well nearly reach the Earth's core, as the crater was so large in size and wide. Down on the ground was Madara, as he was huffing, as even though his body was healing because of the Hoshirama cell, the amount of chakra he placed into his sword to block that attack, his Susanoo was also shattered into pieces at the last moment, and Naruto's force was still more powerful, as he watched Naruto as Naruto descended and dropped to his knees as well. As he watched Naruto, as Naruto realized the backlash of not having the fox, as he used to take the fox chakra to sustain his Susanoo, but with his own chakra, it sapped a lot of his energy fast, as the both of them were panting. As they were rather tired, the both of them rushed towards each other with rather slow speeds, as they slammed their fists into each other's face, creating a ripple effect that pushed back each other. As Madara jumped on top of Naruto and started pulling Naruto face down into the ground. As Naruto kicked him off of him, Naruto then came over and slammed his fist 2 times into Madara's face, as Madara coughed up blood as his nose was broken. As he grabbed Naruto by the shoulder and headbutted Naruto, knocking Naruto off of him, as the both of them were panting, as their clothes were ruined and destroyed. The both of them slowly got up to their feet, as they charged forward and slammed their fists into each other's face at the same time, knocking down each other again. As Naruto got up, "I will not die," as Madara smirked, "And I will not either," he said. "You still haven't bested me yet, Naruto. I am still standing. Indeed, you are powerful, but you still haven't won." He couldn't get to finish that sentence as Naruto gave him an uppercut that sent him flying back. As he hit the ground a thud, he got back up in rage as he formed hand signs rather slowly, fire style. "Majestic Flame Destroyer," he said, as the flames were hot but not completely intense. As they rushed towards Naruto, as Naruto went through hand sign, "Water style, water cocoon," he said, as he covered his body in a cocoon of water that protected him. As the fire slashed right into it, as gusts filled the area and smoke. As Naruto coughed, as he got off his knees, a punch knocked him straight out of the smoke. As he fell on his back, Madara then appeared and gave a brutal kick in Naruto's face that sent him flying. As Naruto hit the wall, that thud, Naruto picked up himself. He still had enough chakra for another attack, as he held out his hand, as a small Rasengan formed, as he started to pour chakra into it, as it started to get larger and larger. Madara smirked as his eyes pulsated, as his Susanoo formed. The Susanoo brought 2 swords forward as they collide together. A beam started to form on top of the 2 blades, as it started to form until it was glowing bright. "Let's end this, shall we?" Madara said. "This will ever go down as a glorious dance. Let's not. make it any less epic, he said, as he fired off the beam that tear through the ground, as Naruto thrust the Rasengan forward. As Naruto pushed right through the beam as the Rasengan was still holding up, until Madara let out a primal scream, as more chakra flowed into the attack. As the both of them attack became unstable, as the attack combined exploded, creating another explosion that sent the both of them flying. As they hit the wall, a great thud. The both of them fell down as they were huffing and puffing, as their bodies were exhausted. But Madara got back up to one knee, and so did Naruto as the both of them looked at each other, a smile on both of their faces. As Naruto saw his sword, as he picked it up, as Madara saw his gun bay. As the both of them walked forward, Naruto slashed at Madara, but Madara blocked it with his gun bay, as he then delivered a righteous punch in Naruto's stomach that knocked all of the wind out of him. As Naruto stepped back, Madara then used a gun bay and smacked him across the face, making Naruto eat dirt. He then delivered a brutal kick to Naruto's face as Naruto was sent flying back into the wall. Madara then thrust forward as he pointed the gun bay to end towards Naruto's face as he drive it forward. But Naruto twisted his body as the gun bay teared through the boulder behind Naruto. As Naruto delivered a punch to Madara's chest, right into his chest, as his eyes went wide as he keeled over in pain. As Naruto jumped up and delivered a brutal roundhouse kick that knocked him away into the ground. As Naruto held up his hand that was shaking, as he went through hand signs slowly, wind style, divine gust, he said, as he released a blast from his palm. But Madara brought his gun bay up and tanked the attack. He absorbed it. Uchiha reflection, he said, as the attack came back twice as strong as it sent Naruto flying, as his body crashed into a small platform of pure dirt and stones, as the small stones cracked under his weight. As Naruto was now huffing and puffing badly, as he's running out of chakra, as he saw Madara walking up to him. In all of this, Naruto still had his sword in his hand, as Madara jumped forward, as Naruto brought up his sword and stopped Madara Gunbei from impaling him, as Madara kept on pushing down hard, as he kept on pushing and pushing and pushing, as Naruto smiled, as his Mangekyou spin, as Madara saw Naruto vanish. He then felt something tear through his back, as it was Naruto's sword, as Naruto then keeled over and fell down. The reason being, he was so low on chakra and using that ability took a lot out of him. His time ability, he could only use it once more. He was saving it if he was in a death situation. But he could have ended right there, but at the last moment, his body went into severe pain of his chakra coils being so seized up, as his body is not used to this kind of pain. He always pushed a little bit of the Kyuubi's chakra into his Susanoo and into his attacks, as the Colossal Susanoo, it is powerful, it can level a village within seconds, but the thing about it, it drained one chakra like a pool. It was like someone using a giant spoon to take out water out of a medium-sized cup. That is how much chakra it sucks from a person. And Naruto wasn't able to stab Madara right through the back to pierce through his heart. Instead, he stabbed him in the lower section. As Madara grunted, as he still had his sword right through him. But he turned and punched Naruto right down into the ground, as blood was coming from both of their mouths. He then fell down to his knees and punched Naruto again, knocking his head down, until Naruto backhanded him as he smashed into a boulder beside him. As Naruto got up and grabbed Madara by the shoulder, as he swung him around and thrust him into a wall, as he hit it with a thud, as Madara collapsed down, as there were all kinds of boulders and walls coming from the ground, small pieces of earth that break in their attack, that came up like a make-fish wall. As the both of them were huffing and puffing, as Madara looked at Naruto, he rushed forward again, still not giving up, as Naruto ducked under his swing and punched him right in the nose that sent him down into the ground. As Naruto then jumped forward and kicked Madara in the gut and squeezed down where his sword was, as Madara cried out in pain, as Naruto then grabbed the blade of his sword and started to twist it. That made Madara cry out even more, as the sword was caught in Naruto's hand, but he was still holding on to it, twisting the blade. He then grabbed Madara and threw him over as he pulled out his blade. He then held it to take off Madara's head. "This will be your final breath," he said. But Madara brought up his hand as the sword digged deep into his skin. But Naruto pulled it out and tried to stab him, but Madara kicked Naruto with his back leg, pushing Naruto back. As Madara's hand slowly was healing the Hoshirama cells, as Naruto was slowly healing as well, but their chakra was very low and they were tired and exhausted after this long fight. Meanwhile, Kushina, Mito, and Narumi were still running to the site. After that huge explosion, the path was completely cleared. All of the trees, all of the boulders, everything that was in their path was destroyed. "Mom, what do you think happened?" asked Mito. "I don't know," said Kushina. As Narumi looked forward, "I am sure this has something to do with Naruto. I think he's fighting that Madara guy." "Huh?" said Kushina. "Well, didn't you remember what Dad said? The description of that thing we saw first. The Susanoo, the first one, that's Madara's. I believe the second one is Naruto's." "Yeah, I remember Dad saying something about it, but I wasn't listening clearly. I was just thinking about what to do with Naruto." "Yeah, you're right," said Kushina. "I wasn't listening clearly either." As Mito smiled, "I know this isn't a time to be funny, but here we are running into unseen danger, not knowing what you're running into, because we weren't listening, thinking about Naruto's well-being. He should know how much we're doing to get him back. Well, let's keep it up, as they enhance their speed going more faster. With Madara and Naruto, the both of them are on the ground, as the both of them are exhausted. Madara pushed himself up though, as Naruto got to his feet, as Madara grabbed him, as he held on to Naruto's neck. "This is it," he whispered in Naruto's ear, as he was going to break Naruto's neck, but Naruto grabbed his hand, holding him from breaking his neck. "This is not how it ends," Naruto said, as he used his elbow and drive it into Madara's side, making him release for a small second, as Naruto then grabbed him and flipped him over his shoulder and slammed him into the ground. As Naruto then pulled his fist back as he drive it down, but Madara raised his hand as his Rinnegan was pulsating. "Almighty, push," he said, as that sent Naruto flying up into the air, as Naruto felt few of his ribs broken, as the push pushed against his body, his tender weak body, as he couldn't do anything but fall. As he hit the ground, that thud, Madara picked up himself, as his body felt drained, but he was going to win this. Once he succeeds, he can go ahead with the plan. This is all for the plan, to see if Naruto could stop him, but it seems like he would win, as Naruto wasn't moving. Madara made his way over to Naruto, as he lowered his hand up on top of Naruto's head, as Naruto's eyes were barely open. "This is where we end this," he said. "I'll take out your soul. I hope you find peace in the afterlife." But Naruto snapped his eyes open, as he was a huge flash of light. Kushina and the others coming then saw it. Once more, the colossal Susanoo erupted, as the thing erupted with full force, but it was not as perfect as usual. It was faded, like you could put your hand right through it. It was because of Naruto's lack of chakra, as Madara's body was sent flying from the sun of bursts, as Naruto didn't waste any time as he moved forward, as the thing shake, as it felt like it was about to collapse. But Naruto pulled back the feet, as he kicked Madara with so much force, as Madara felt his bones inside him snap, as he coughed up blood while flying through the air, as he smashed into a large boulder a distance away. As Naruto could not fly at the moment, as he jumped forward with his Susanoo, the thing stepped into the ground, a boom. It jumped forward again. The thing then pulled back his fist and drive it down, as it hit Madara with a boom, crushing him under the force. Naruto then grabbed him and picked him up, as he started to squeeze, as Madara screamed out in pain, as he could feel it, all of his bones were broken, as Naruto squeezed him until his bones were crushed under the weight. But the hands then fade away, allowing Madara to drop out, as Naruto was also falling. At the last second, he activated his Susanoo ribs that kept him from not bursting his head open on the solid concrete. As Naruto was on his stomach, his body felt like it was dead, as Madara could not even move a muscle as Naruto crushed all of his bones in his body. But yet, the man had a smile on his face as Naruto started to drag his body over to Madara. He started pulling himself over there. As he slowly pulled himself over there, as Naruto tried to stand up, but he fell down, hitting his face, as a huge gash came in his face. But he still tried to stand up again, as he collapsed down again, as Madara was still smiling. What's so funny, Naruto said as he coughed up blood. Don't you see you're gonna die? As Madara was now on his back, his wild hair was just spread out on the ground. I have accepted my fate. I knew coming into this battle there was a good opportunity that I would die. But to know that you're this powerful already, imagine what will happen when you ascend to the god level. With these eyes we're powerful, but we're still not gods, even though that man Nagato claimed to be one. But you will ascend to the truly godly level. Not even Tobi, Obito. No one will be able to stop you. You will rule this nation. And I am happy. Even though I didn't get what I wanted, I am happy. I was the one who trained you and made you become this. And to see you this way now, this powerful, I can't help but smile. So do it, Naruto. Give me a warrior's death. Do not hold back. Kill me. As Naruto moved forward, his Rinnegan activating, although it seemed rather dull. He then reached up, as a small tear slipped from his eye. Thank you for everything, he said. You're welcome, said Madara, as Naruto ripped away his soul. As he released it, as a soul started to fade away before it just vanished. As Naruto collapsed on top of Madara's body, as he couldn't even move a muscle right now. He was exhausted beyond the point of moving. He could be killed by any ordinary genin or anyone right now. He was just trying to seem strong, but now he really couldn't do a damn thing. As Naruto heard it, what the hell happened here? As he looked over, as he saw them, his mother and his two sisters. Where the hell is he, Naruto thought, as he had told Menma to stay behind, a distance away, because he didn't want him to get caught up in the explosion, as he knew this would have to resort to him using his colossal Susanoo. But he should be getting here by now. As things stand, they could take him back to Konoha, as he was so weak he couldn't do anything against them, as his eyes were the dull red color, as he was so weak he couldn't activate his Sharingan anymore. Is that you, Naruto? As Mito saw him, Mito then rushed forward. As she stopped, she noticed he was on top of someone. As she narrowed her eyes, as she could see it was him. This is the man who they call Mother Uchiha. Mom! She shouted out, as Kushina rushed over, along with Narumi. Mito, what? As Kushina stopped to see Naruto. As Kushina, when she got here, was beyond surprised at all the chaos and destruction that two people could cause. As she now understands, if Naruto were to come to Konoha for vengeance, everything would be leveled. Right now she has an opportunity. The sight was to kill him, but she can take him back to Konoha. She can change him. She can be the mother that he always wanted. She can be there for him. Or was she just believing in a false hope? Was he still gonna be the monster that everyone seemed to think that he is? As she narrowed her eyes, but she moved forward anyway. As Mito stepped closer to Naruto. Naruto, are you okay? She said, as she narrowed her eyes at him. as Naruto tried to move but he couldn't. His body was too exhausted as Naruto looked up at them as they stepped in closer. Damn it, damn it, damn it, he kept on cursing in his mind. But guys, we end this episode right here. If you want to see the next part of this, you already know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn bell notifications they posted. Remember to share all of your friends in social media platform. But for now, I'm out for you guys. Peace.